Hello, hello. It's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I'm back. It's Sunday, the 18th. I hope everybody is well. Um, sorry, I'm a little bit late. We're doing ice skating lessons on Sundays now, and so sometimes there's a little crunch time. Dune, I have your payment. I'm gonna go ahead and make the list.
I just wanted to do something.
Real quick.
Bob, when we're done taking the bath,
Yeah.
could we come down and could I tell you that I need help getting dressed or?
No, hopefully Daddy will be back by then.
Okay.
Okay. But you guys usually like to swim in the tub for a while, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Love you, Buggy Poo.
But you always say, "Yay."
I know. I'm like, get out. You're in here for 4 hours now. No, I've had them. Can you go?
Put them up for next year.
Hi, Nicole. Okay, I will.
Better.
All right, done. I hope everybody is well. Let me just put this on Do Not Disturb. I have my whole closet where all the Christmas stuff is kind of all pulled out. I still need to put it all away and kind of organize it. But there's some stuff I need to patch up a little hole in there. Exciting. I'm the resident cleaner, handy woman, project manager, occasional contractor, do it all kind of lady. Okay. So let me find my list and let's get going today. Is everybody well? So I was wrong about the point spread, but I was right about the Chiefs winning. My kids actually watched a little bit of the football game. I did not. I don't know what I was doing. Organizing something. I don't know. I don't really care about the football. And I put it with the football. Okay, wait, sorry. Here I am. I'm with you. So I have Davri is first. Oops, mess. Sadie has 2. Cindy has 2. Regine has 2. Dune has 2. And Nicole has 1. Little bookends. Okay. There we go. And I know, let's see. All right, hang on. I'm missing someone, I think. No. One of Sadie's is actually Ashley's. So is everybody well? No, right? I'm confused. Hang on. Is that right? Yes, that's right. And the other one is Layla's. Okay. All right. General reading for Devry. Devry, how did your interviews go? Sorry, I always put a little Celtic sea salt in my water, so I'm just shaking it so I don't get a big taste of salt. Oh. Hang on. The disappointment when the straw falls out. Sorry. Okay. Wasn't able to go. I had no. Oh no. Okay. We're saying good things. Okay. All right. Sea salt is minerals. Puts minerals back in the water. Okay. So Did you do something to your upper back? I just feel a little sore in my upper back between my scapulas. Like, if you like just get like a spasm or a twisted or something, and it's just kind of catches when you breathe, that kind of a feeling. And have you been dealing with headaches too? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to feel into your energy, and I do feel a lot of stress and anxiety for you. Um, you pulled a muscle. Okay. Hi, Allie. Okay, I'll look for that. So I just asked, like, what do you need to know about this week? I'm sorry, I'm getting over some throat thing that I got from my daughter. It's not strep, it's not COVID. Um, and sorry, so I asked, what did you need to know? And it's like, I heard you have a male guy that's with you, and he's interesting because he's younger. He's not an older man. I don't think this is a loved one, but that's the energy around it. So if you ever feel that kind of energy around you, it's one of your guides. And he has an interesting, um, like, he's very tall and thin, but like almost like much taller than a human stature. Um, But he's just saying, like, "You're doing all right." I know that's just fine with my sense and feeling is that this is on the line with actually with doing all the affirmations and stuff, and you think it's not happening, it's not working, everything I do, and I'm just giving up, and he's kinda saying, like, "No, it's working." It's more like it just takes a little bit more time for this to come through, um, and the delays are falling in your favor, and it almost feels like so for this job that you're interviewing for, like, when they interview someone or when they're casting someone for, like, a movie or whatever, so I hear from, like, friends who's a friend of mine whose son's in the business, whatever, it's like them and friends who have been in the business on the casting end, you're more memorable either very beginning or very end. Like, if you kinda get in the middle, you're kind of lost in the shuffle, and I feel like by your moving your spot, it puts you more towards the end. So it's like you'll be more memorable and more fresh in their minds. So it's working in your favor. So as much as you feel like that wasn't it, it's like, no, this is working in your favor. And these are two mantras that I say with my daughter. Well, like we say a whole bunch of them, but two of the ones that we say at night as they fall asleep is I've written the universe. Well, three. The universe has my back. Everything's always working out in my favor. And everything always works out best case scenario. So even if it doesn't look like it's best case scenario that you couldn't get a ride and you had to move the thing, it's like because initially when I read that I was like, oh, but now sitting this energy, they're like, no, this is actually working in her favor. This is actually really, really good. So a lot of this too is around, I don't know what affirmation work you've been doing, like about being worthy and valuable and stuff, but I also feel like I'm chosen really needs to be put up front. Um, because you followed me for a while and I sort of kind of know your energy, it's like I know that there are often times where you feel not chosen, where you do put a lot of people ahead of yourself, where you feel like somehow their needs, wants, and desires are a bit more important and yours are not seen. And I feel like it's really important to put that out there, that it's important to say, I am chosen. I'm worthy of being chosen. They choose me. I'm the best one for the job. Sort of moving into that mode. So I'm sharing a story because they keep bringing it up. So I'm going to share it. And it's kind of a different level, but my girls are in Girl Scouts. One of the fathers whose two daughters are in my troop, the fifth graders that I am a troop leader of, he and his partner own a costume shop. They build a lot of costumes for like movies and theater, and they've done like Disney on Ice, and they've done the costumes. They build the costumes so they don't necessarily design them, they just build them, right? So it's like put them together. For Ringling Brothers. And he's like, I'm going to put together this thing, and then we'll have a special thing at the end for all the girls, for the Girl Scouts, and they'll get to see this thing. And I was like, okay. And I forgot to sign up for tickets. I totally thought I put in that we wanted 3 tickets, and I forgot to sign up for them. So I was like, I'll just pay you. And he's like, no, like I don't have any tickets. And I was like, it's fine. I'm going to manifest it. Like I literally, hi, Saley. I'll look at the test too. Don't worry, Devery. But I'm telling you this because I feel like they're needing you to hear this. So my point is that they were saying like, whatever. So I was like, I'm going to manifest it. And I literally was just like, it's done. Like we have 3 tickets. I'm not worried about it. It's all taken care of. Because I was having a hard time. Like initially I was like, let me go see what the other tickets are for. I'll just buy some close by where they're sitting. Because I was like, where are you sitting? It's like near the floor. And they're like $150 a piece. And I was like, and we were getting them for $30 a piece. So that's like a big price difference. It's not that I can't. Yes, I could afford something like that. It's not like we're, but it's a lot. And so I was like, I'm going to do the Neville Goddard technique. And it's like, no, like he woke up one day and he had a friend who was like, I don't remember. There's a man who was a mentor type person to him who did the manifesting and law of assumption. And Neville had wanted to go back to the islands. I don't remember what island he was from, to visit his family. And he wanted to go first class on the boat, but he didn't have the money for the boat. And then it turned out that he was like, okay, he went home and visualized and all that stuff. And the guy was like, why are you complaining to me? You're already there. Like you're already on that boat. You're already there. And you went first class. And so then he got money from his brother-in-law, happened to send him money, didn't know anything about it, and said, go get yourself a ticket. We haven't seen you in a while, blah, blah, blah. But when he went to buy the tickets, there weren't any first class tickets left. It was just, third class steerage. So he went to the guy. He's like, oh, I got the tickets. And he's like, but it's not first class. Like, go back. You're going first class. Like, it was kind of like, you need to decide. So I was like, with these tickets, I was like, no, I'm not going to buy them. It's done. Like, we're going to pay $30 a ticket. It's fine. We're going to be with them. So this was a few weeks ago, and I was like, well, I did not tell my daughters because I didn't want their energy of being like, oh, you screwed up. Because I was just really busy. Mom forgot to do that. Like I had opened the Google thing. Hi, KK. So anyway, I had opened this Google thing, and I was like, and I just never filled it out. So anyway, yesterday he messages me and he's like, we got a cancellation. You totally manifested this. How many do you need? And I was like, I need 3. And he's like, it's done. So like, you got it. So my point to you is like, it's going to look like it. And you're going to be tempted to be like, I don't have a job. They're not calling me. They're not contacting me. Yeah, Brockton, you can send a donation. Like it's going to look that way, but it just feels like I have this job. As far as the test, I feel like, so if there was 10 questions, I feel like you got 2 wrong. So I don't know how many there were, whatever. So it's like, I feel like an 80%. So I feel like you passed, you did well enough. I feel like you're just much harder on yourself. I actually don't feel like they've gotten through all of the things yet in order to get to you. So it feels like it might be this week or next week where they'll start making phone calls and calling back. I feel like that company tends to drag their feet a little bit more, to be honest with you. That's how I feel about it. Like, I know it can be frustrating, but it sort of feels like you just have to keep at it and even though it's like that, there's that part of you that really wants to go to that place of like, it's not going to happen, and be like, no, This is going to happen. And I feel like with this job that you're interviewing for that got pushed, it feels like it's actually working in your favor that you didn't have the ride and that it's getting pushed. And this guide, I feel like, I don't know if you felt him around or not, but I feel like that's who you're feeling around when you're feeling energies around you. Hi, Makikan. So, Saley, these are paid readings here. They're $12 a reading. Okay, I'll check. Rocked on. They're $12 a reading. And here's the link. And 30% I donate to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey because food, I can't bake. Food scarcity is real. Let's call it that. PayPal me. And let me just double check that this link works. It does. So I'm gonna pin that. All right. So that's what I got, Jeffrey. And I know there was a long story in the middle of it, but it just feels like it's one of those things where you're going to be tempted to be like, because I literally was like, even like 2 days before, I was like, should I just buy the tickets and bite the bullet? And I was like, no. And I literally went back into that. Like, I didn't even visualize, like, no, it's done. We have the tickets. Like, I didn't go into like feeling it as if it was really real. I just was like, no, like a stubborn person that I can be. Like, I've just decided it's done. All right. Layla, you're up with the Sadie questions. And I think I saw yours. And so one thing I want to address, so you were saying that you're like 5 weeks along, your numbers didn't go up as high as you wanted, like they didn't double or triple, but they did go up. You're concerned that you're not having any symptoms yet of like, morning sickness or anything like that. Okay, Saley, I'll check in just a minute. And you want to know if you're still pregnant or if it's a real pregnancy. I just want to be clear on that. Because I feel like you are. I feel like it is. I do feel like you're going to be more typical and like lend towards any kind of symptoms coming around 8 weeks rather than earlier. And that's actually pretty normal to around the 8-week mark, 8-9 week mark is where the symptoms kind of start. I realize with your history of 2 losses that it's hard to like not kind of relax. I had a loss, then I got pregnant. My first pregnancy was high risk. There was, went to cardiologists and like all kinds of stuff, every geneticist, everything. And, asked every time I had a doctor's appointment until I was 24 weeks along if I wanted to abort the baby. And I did not because I had a dream about having a baby. They would tell me a lot of things would be wrong with it. This is like 6 years before I was pregnant, and that the baby would be born fine. And that's exactly what happened. So I kept telling doctors, I said, I know this is crazy, but like 6 years ago, I had this dream. So I'm just like, I'm not like I'm keeping this baby. Everything is okay at this point. Yep. Ultimately, I would like reassurance. Yes. I do feel like you will carry, if not full term, near full term. So not like super early, like maybe 36, 37 weeks. 37 is technically full term. But I feel like it's really important for you to kind of get into that mode of like just deciding this is fine, this is okay, the baby's fine, I'm pregnant, it's okay. And it's funny because I feel like when you start having symptoms, it's going to be like all of a sudden. I heard he's happy, so it might be a little boy you're having. What so I was gonna say is after my first pregnancy and my second pregnancy, I was kind of nervous. Like I also didn't realize I was in labor with my first. Because I have very I guess I have like a weird pain thing. This might be like an auto or a neurodivergent thing. Like I've closed my entire hand in car doors before. Like door was totally closed like from here. And I was just like, can you just open the door? My friend's mom was like, oh my God. And I was like, it's fine. I'm totally fine. Just open the door so I can have my hand back. Um, but I didn't know I was in labor. And so I was like freaking the doctors out because I was like 7 centimeters and I was like, can I just like go to the bathroom? She's like, we have this bedpan. I was like, it's not gonna happen. So like you can either cath me or like she's like, you're freaking me out because you don't even know you're having contractions. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna have the baby on the toilet. That I can guarantee. So it just feels like it's gonna be different. Anyway, and then with my second baby, I was like kind of nervous because I didn't know when I was, in labor. And then I was just worried because I was so used to having all of these sonograms and all of this stuff. And anyway, I feel like it's fine. I feel like there might be a period where you're on bed rest. So don't panic. Just go into your head of like, I know this is going to be okay. I know I'm going to be like, you really have to, and you can talk to your baby, be like, it's not time yet. Okay. Do you get a feeling of whether you think it's a boy or a girl yet? Ashley, and your question was about work. So I'm guessing I was right when you said that, I'm going to tell another friend of yours 2 years ago that she would have 2 kids and she's currently pregnant with twins. Yay. And I also said 2 years. Yay. Thank you for that validation. Your husband had a dream that it will be a boy. Fabulous. So will you just like do yourself a favor and just be like, just because those things happen, it was my body getting ready. And also the thing that we forget on this side is like, we think, well, I'm ready. When's it going to happen? And like, you forget that like you're bringing another life in that has to have the perfect timing too. So like, it's about the stars aligning for their chart and for their adventure and their like for things to come into play for what they need to learn and come in and experience. So maybe he just hasn't been ready until now. Is your due date in October? Because I heard October. Or your estimated due date? Yeah. So maybe even just like October 1st. Libras are good. I have a Libra daughter. My oldest is a Libra. I would say what's funny with her is that like even when she was little, and this is a Libra thing, I was like, I would give her a choice between two things, and she'd be like, it's too many choices. That might also be her autism. But I had Libra friends who are like, yeah, don't give us so many choices. And Cindy's a Libra, so she might be able to vouch for that. I love, 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 love that validation. Thank you, Ashley. I feel like I need to figure out how to take a screenshot of that so I can be like, look. Too many choices is a nightmare. Thank you. Okay, so quite indecisive, but I'll stand up on one once I make it. Yeah, once. So like once my daughter makes that choice, she's firm, she's on it, but sometimes it takes a minute to get there. Okay, Ashley. So I think I told you that like you would extend, this would not be like you would move past a probationary period. And I'm assuming that's what that means. If they're like, your probationary period is ended, they're deciding to keep you on further. So I would want to say I'm validating that myself, that I got that right. She was also engaged at the time, and you said she'd be getting married within 2 years of her engagement, and she did. Fabulous. I mean, I'd hope so. Like that whole engaged forever, that means you're not really going to get married. Let's be honest. I'm writing this down for an idea to make a video because otherwise I forget I have ideas to make videos. I'm just gonna put Ashley validation. So, oopsie daisy. All right. So, Ashley, you wanted to know if it's going to happen, if there's going to be any other snafus. I have to tell you, I think there might be one more issue, but I don't know that it pushes it back too much. But I still feel like you said your visa, your temporary visas, they're good until March 19th. I don't feel like it's going to be an issue. So, I don't know if it's like there. So there's something I saw with the paperboard work where it's like 2 little things have to be fixed, but I don't think it's like they have to send it back. It feels like, I don't know, but I feel like you're gonna get it. It's like just in the nick of time you get in there and get it taken care of. So like literally like March 17th or 18th. Oh, can you just take a minute to appreciate me? I'm like, let's move on because I don't want you guys to wait so long. Thank you, Julia. I hear the crowds roaring and clapping. They're keeping you. Your supervisor said everything was fine with the probation period and I'm staying. Okay. Yay. Oh, Allie, I'll get you on the list. I'm sorry. There's a couple people I haven't. There were 2 bullet points on the notice. Okay, perfect. So then I feel like you'll get it in just in time. It just feels like it might be like literally like March 17th or 18th, but it feels like it's done, it's fine, it's taken care of. You don't have to worry. I understand that it can be very nerve-wracking, especially when you're in it, but it's like, some of this is a pattern that you create. And I don't want to say this like terribly because it's not. We don't have to fill the documents out again. No, I don't think you'll have to fill out the documents again. That might be what I was seeing was the 2 things. In that you have a tendency, I might sneeze here, sorry. You have a tendency, go away, sneeze. I love you, but go away. Okay. You have a tendency to like always go to this like fatalistic, like, oh my God. And I had this for a long time and it took me a long time to go, no. And like, this is all working out in my favor. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what circumstances look like. This is all working out in my favor. Best case scenario. Like when I normally would have been like, oh my God, how am I going to tell the girls if they didn't get the circus tickets? Like, I feel like I'm going to feel like such an a-hole when their friends are like, hey, oh my God, we're going to circus. Like all of her really good friends are in her Girl Scout troop. Like I would have, oh my God, I would have felt like such a schmuck. Right. So, I was like, no, I'm manifesting it. Forget it. I'm manifesting it. And like, plus if I'm going to preach about this manifesting stuff and this law of assumption stuff to everybody, I better like put this shit into action. Cause like, I'm not going to tell you guys to do something if I don't believe in it myself. So 5th time's a charm. 5th time's a charm. What was I looking at? I don't remember what I was looking at. Oh, sorry. Now I do. My list. Oh, Allie, I didn't put you in. You were, you know why? Because I didn't just, yours came in after I finished the last list. And so did, I don't think I got Nicole. Yeah, it was after Nicole. So it's going to happen for you. Please don't panic and don't worry. It is happening. Hi, Claudina. These are paid readings. Did you pay? They're $12 a reading. Oh, you did pay. Okay. So hold on to your questions. As soon as I call you, I'll ask for them again because it might be a little bit before. I'm trying to get through these. Rock Dawn. I don't know if I'm even saying your screen name right. So I started these $20 readings that you do email only now, like during, whenever, and I get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. And I've had some interesting things I've noted that come up. So this is like lessons for when you're asking psychic questions, especially like if you get like a one question thing and you're like, I want to like, and there's part of you that wants to test somebody as you've never had a reading from them before. But like one person asked about a case for a family member. They're having to go to court for something. How's it going to work out? Is it going to, and so I got this information. It was interesting because I got maybe having to do some community service. And then they said it was a civil case. And I was like, well, that's weird. Cause that doesn't, like, you don't usually do community service for a civil case. You usually like pay a fine or pay the person back, whatever like that. That's civil cases are really about that. And I was like, oh, okay, well and then she's like, well, there's actually this one too. And I was like, it's helpful as a reader to know that I'm looking at two different cases. Cause when the information comes in, then I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Like, this is weird. So there's that. When you ask something, you could say they're having two cases. Can you look at that? So like, don't feel like you need to be coy as a way to like test or whatever. What was the other one? Oh, so when I do readings, it's basically like 20 questions. So if you write a question, I may not ask it exactly like you're asking me because I know what you want to ask. But if I ask it the way you're asking me, I'm not going to get you a really full, good answer. It's going to be like partial. And who wants a partial answer, right? So, so like when you're like a general, go like, what do you want to tell me? I ask it as like, what do they really need to hear right now? Or what's the best information that can come out right now? Because otherwise they might talk about your lunch, and who gives a crap about your lunch? So this person had asked me about finding a job, when they were going to find a job. And I was like, okay. So first I was like, her question was in the near future. Well, near is relative, right? Because what I might think is near, maybe that's only a week or two. And you're like, no, I'll be fine with like a year out, whatever. So I didn't ask it as that. I asked it as like, when will she get a new job? Because I know like near is just so ambiguous and I want specific. I like specific. That's the way I work. It's the way my brain works. I like details. I don't like generalizations. I don't like things to be ambiguous. So, then I asked as a follow-up, because like, so just because you're paying for one question, I'm doing more work than one question, but I want to like, be proper about it. I'm just telling you this because I want you to understand how it kind of works. Maybe so you're see on my side. So then I asked if she actually had a job right now, because I was like, I don't know, does this person have a job? Like, so I was like, oh no, she's got a job. I'm like, okay, so that's fine. So then I told her that these are the things I asked. This is what I got, blah, blah, blah. She just like came back and said, well, my problem is, and like, she doesn't like her boss. And for a multitude of reasons. And like, as I was reading it, I was like, oh, I wonder like if, so I don't see her leaving in a while. So I was like, oh, I wonder if, just because you're not leaving doesn't mean there can't be changes to the job. So I was like, I immediately was like, oh, I wonder if something's gonna happen with her, like her boss, like, is he leaving? And then I got to the bottom and she actually asked that. That was her follow-up question. Because I said, your follow-up has to pertain to that. But it becomes 20 questions. It's not like they're just all, it's like working with a Siri or Alexa, right? Like, I'm trying to say it quietly so I don't out your devices. But it's like, it literally is, you have to ask the question the right way to get like the best answer for what you're looking for. No. So the email questions are $20. And that's because like here, first of all, I get to do some of it to charity. Second of all, it's a very specific time. I'm here and you have to wait through other people. with the email reading, yeah, you're still waiting, but you're not having to sit online and do this, like whatever. So it's $20. And because it's like, whenever. There's no, it's still cheaper than a private. And so that's why I do it that way. I kind of had to work myself through it because I psyched myself out because our brains, like whenever we start to do something new, they're like, whoa, watch out. And I was kind of like, no, I've been doing readings this way. I haven't needed a screen name. I don't need a picture because there was like part of me that was like, I need a picture of this person. I was like, no, I don't fucking need that. So, okay, I'm adding everybody to the list. Rakta, and see you're on the list here. Up there. Okay. Okay. So, Cindy, my dear, what are your 2 questions? I don't do Stanley. I like this one. This was one. I got my daughter one, a smaller one of these. And it's got like a straw, so you can either sip it or suck on it like a straw. And I like that feature. Okay. Hey, Anna, I'd like a reading on my career for this year. I want to break into a different tax bracket. You and me both. Okay. Okay, so I heard this is your year, but I hear like it's funny, I saw 2025. So I really do feel like I'm making big changes up until the end, but I feel like you're going to actually see that break through at the beginning of 2025. There's something that you're offering that's going to be different than, it's still in the line of what, I don't know if you want me to tell people what you do. So I'm trying to like keep that, but it's still in the line of what you're doing. But I feel like I'm more offering group sessions or something where I'm offering something where I do like an event to where it's not like, oh, I'm only making my X dollars amount an hour like I do normally, but where it's like I have the chance to bring in more at once. So it's like I have my individual clients, but now I'm going to do something to where I'm making more money. And I also feel like offering, I don't know if it's you're creating your own sort of workbook to do some of the work or whatever, but like that goes with it. So it's like there's money I'm making off of that too. I don't fully feel like I'm going into like, creating like digital products for people yet. That might be a little bit down the way, like creating an app or something. But I feel like you're however you're working with your clients, it feels like there's a really big gift in doing it in group style that people will really gravitate towards that. You made a journal last year and it's on Amazon. Ooh. So I feel like that's going to start picking up. Listen, I don't know if you want to do this, but it might be beneficial to like get yourself online on TikTok or something like that and kind of like putting your information out there, building trust with people so that there's a wider audience to buy that journal. You put group work on your profile. Yeah. So I feel like you're going to be really doing more group work. So initially I see smaller groups between 10 and 20 people, but then I see larger events happening because I feel like you'll reach people in a larger thing. So then maybe that's when you're offering your journal, you have them hard copies there that people can buy. So that's where I feel like you're kind of jumping up. So it's like, it's a kind of a slow build, but it's a steady build. And then by the beginning of 2025 is where I feel like you kind of take that leap into a new tax bracket, which is good. So what's your second question? This eyebrow just doesn't want to show up. Show up. Your second question is about getting another house. What about it? Listen, I've always said you'll get another one. I feel like it will be. So there's a couple of different property things I'm seeing for you. So September of 2025 is highlighted to me, but also 2027 is highlighted to me. So that might be a third property and or selling of the first, then buying a third. It'll be right for him. And I feel like I have to say, wherever you're at, buying the second home, I don't feel like it's going to be quite so. It's going to be a little bit more rural. So, because I just see a little bit more land, which not like New Jersey has a lot of that, but I see him working with some equine therapy. Have you looked at that before for him? I feel like he'd really like it too. Yeah, that's kind of what I felt was moving more south. Like, but not near the shore. I feel like a little bit more inland. Like, so maybe Freehold area. I think he would really like horses. So that's why I saw the equine therapy. The school may offer equine. Yeah. I just feel like he would really, really shine doing that. Like, I just see him with this really big smile on his face. Is Freehold too south for you? Yeah, that's kind of the area I was feeling. So I don't know. Like, didn't transfer him to another school. Yeah. Speaking of horses, I have to look up an activity for the girls to get their one of their badges. You're trying to avoid that. Well, I mean, I'm just doing generalization. Like, listen, I did a reading we did, pre-pandemic, we used to do fairs with the church. I was like, what's the word I'm looking for? And I did a reading for one of my fellow reverends, and he was like, when are we going to buy a house? And this is the crazy thing. I was like, 2 years. It's like not Westchester, right? So that's like a county up in New York. And he's like, oh, we're like, they were in the middle of like, they had put an offer in on the house. The offer was accepted. Like, they were in the proceedings of it. There was like all these issues coming up. I was like, not 2 years. Well, they ended up not taking that house, and they bought another house, but it literally was 2 years. Because it fell through, and I think they lost some money on it. Like, it was kind of a disaster. But they did buy in Westchester, which I think is funny because I was like, not Westchester. And he's like, that's where we're looking. I was like, oh. So I mean, I could be wrong about the area for sure. Like, I'm not. Points of the Hearse is a good one for badges for your girls. Wait, points. Oh, so there's a badge, like I don't know if it's a horseback riding badge, but it's like care for the horse. So there's ones I can do with one of the counties, but it's like they don't get to go horseback riding, and I think that they would enjoy that. It's less expensive, but there's ones where it's like it's weird. Like, I have to go through, like, we're a big troop, and there wasn't an accountant. I don't know, whatever. It's whatever. And I tend to look for deals, and I think because I grew up poor, so like I tend to like have this. So I'm always like, oh, that's like a lot. Like I tend to be really cognizant because we have some single moms, and people live on budgets and stuff like that. So like I try to keep things enjoyable and yet not like crazy expensive, whatever. You look there. Okay. So, okay. So, is that an answer for you? Yes. Okay. Regine, are you here, dear? Do you see me owning a car wash company or a luxury limousine company? Please, if yes, when? Okay. Thank you, Cindy. Um, I'm leaning actually more towards the car wash, and I'm leaning more towards two, not one. So I feel like you get one, it does really, really well. And then maybe within 10 years, you get a second one because it does really, really well. And there's something about, you may even get one where because I keep seeing coins. So I don't know that you're going to have like a vending machine, but maybe you end up with a laundromat or something too. Or like the car wash places where you can wash your own car, where you put the coins in. And 15 to 20 years, like you're going to be fine. You really have made a lot of, like, within the next 15 to 20 years, a lot of really good business decisions to set yourself up well. Have you thought about owning a laundromat? Keep thinking about it. Put your energy in that direction. That feels very lucrative for you too. I don't see the limousine one. I got to be honest with you. I could be totally wrong, but I don't see that one. And it's interesting why I feel like it ends up, like, when you really look into it. Yeah, I don't know why. And I feel like, so this is why I think you end up not doing it. My sense is that the insurance becomes such a big part of the overhead that it becomes not worth it. There's something insurance wise where it feels like it's so expensive, it's not worth it. I keep forgetting that you're in Florida. For some reason, I want to say that I always feel like you're in Georgia. You know what's crazy? I just thought about is like how in Europe, if you guys were in Europe, like we would be in different countries because it's like the United States is so huge. Okay. So what's your second question? What about the office? What about the next 3 months? Like, just ask us, oh, what do I see for the next 3 months at the office? I keep feeling really preparing for the move. I know you're worried about it, but I feel like there's nothing you need to worry about. Um, Like, I keep even getting like, I'm asking, is there anything she needs to be concerned about? Nope, nothing you need to be concerned about. It just feels like I do feel like your boss is going to be a little bit more quieter, a little bit more retreated in his energy. Like maybe he's normally really friendly and kind of bouncy. He just seems more quiet, and you're going to automatically go, "Oh my god, I did something wrong. He doesn't like me anymore, or he doesn't want anything to do with me." It's not. It's just this is how he deals with stress. And so even though it's going to go well with the move, he's just very stressed about it. So he becomes very insulated and kind of withdrawn. So don't let that get to your head because it's not about you. It's just how he processes. You're very welcome. All right, Dune, what are your questions? I get these little reminders on here that it's like interact more with your I don't know, whatever you guys are. I'm like, I am interacting, just not typing. I have an idea of getting forced to eat untasty food on TikTok. No. You were asking the word. Like, I literally have unfollowed and blocked people because they decided to turn their platform into like they're going to eat and talk to me at the same time. And I'm like, no. Okay, so hang on. Sorry. Now I'm asking it seriously and taking my little ego sensory issues out of it. I actually feel like it might do well because there's a weird group of people who really enjoy that kind of stuff. I do feel like not as you're doing these, like, first of all, like, just kind of look up tips and tricks on how to, whatever, but also like not to get too discouraged if it doesn't pop off right away, because it's okay for things to take just a tiny bit more time to get used to. It gives you time to grow and practice and get used to things, um, and not get overwhelmed. I do also feel like it's really important for you to interact on your threads and in the platform with people who are following you, maybe doing content where it's like they make suggestions. Will it be profitable in the long run? I think not as profitable as you think it's going to be. Only because, there's a lot of people who can build, like, I keep getting this idea of like you can build a really big audience, but if you don't connect with them on a personal level in some way, then you sort of lose their interest in wanting to invest in you. I feel like you'll make more money through brands, maybe. I don't know about famous, but I feel like it'll do well. So I don't know how to say that. Like, I don't know if famous, famous, like somebody who's known all over the world. No. I mean, there's honestly, there's TikTok creators where I'm like, oh, who's this? And it's like they have millions of followers. I'm like, oh, I've never seen them, never heard of them. Because there's I don't know how many millions of people that are on TikTok, right? Billions or whatever. I don't know. There's a huge amount of people on there. So there's huge areas of audiences that we're just not exposed to. Yeah, I mean, sponsors, like brand deals. Mm-hmm. But I don't necessarily feel like you'll be selling directly to people, if that's the way to put it. Like, whereas I might say have something like, you can buy a reading from me. Like, you wouldn't have anything like that. You wouldn't have a product that you're selling, but you might have like people wanting to work with you because you have an audience, that kind of thing. Is that your second question? What will it lead to in the long run? So what's your second question then? Because now you're just asking question after question. You want to know what the journalist will think of it? I do feel like you'll get a response back, but I don't think they're going to pick it up as anything yet. It feels like it gets filed away because it's one of those things I feel like they need more people. It's like needing more people to come forward and sort of report very similar things. So it might be actually a little bit before anything might come of that. I'm not strong that much will, though, to be honest with you. That's kind of how I feel about that one. It's just not like, you have this idea that it's like, oh, if I go and tell them, that's going to blow open and blow the case wide open, and it doesn't feel that way to me. It feels more like, okay, like the person you send to is a good journalist and they do things in a very measured way. And so it's like, okay, well, I'm going to take this information, I'm going to tuck it away, and I'm going to kind of see if anything else comes of it. It just feels like it takes a little bit more time for somebody else to be able to corroborate that information. Like, and not to say like, but that like there are similar people who have had similar experiences. I mean, if you look at any of these cases that came out against some of these like Harvey Weinstein kind of people, it's like, yes, one person kind of came forward, but they needed more people to come forward to really give it weight, even though it was an open secret, right? Like everybody knew he was a complete scumbag. There were a lot of people who said, "Oh no, I would never know him like that," and full of shit. Same thing with Woody Allen. Because they wanted to work and they wanted these scummy people were like, helping their careers. My friend is here with me and she sent a payment. Okay. Monique. Okay. All right, Nicole, are you here? You're welcome, June. Let me get her after Rockdown, because Rockdown's also in another. So Nicole and Allie, and then they'll do Rockdown, and then I'll do Monique. Okay. We're getting a new CFO and having dinner with her on Tuesday. What do you get? Sure, no problem. What do you get on how things will go? We also have a new bookkeeper. Just wondering where I will stand in all of this change. So the CFO, I feel like it'll be really great. I feel like you're really going to like her a lot. She feels really like all business, but also also knows how to relax, and I don't feel like we're going to be buddy buddy, but I feel like you can relax around her. She's not like stiff. The meeting will go really well. I think you're really going to like her. I also feel like you're going to like the bookkeeper, and you're not going to get lost in the change. I feel like you become more of a senior person rather than like just kind of pushed to the side. I feel like you're actually going to have a little bit, feel like you're going to have a little bit more standing and respect. So that's how I feel. Allie, do you want to ask your question? Are you one of the bookkeepers too? So it's like, is it growing? I can't remember. I know you do accounting. It just feels like it's expanding. You're not getting taken over. I don't apply for the FBI, but I feel doubt that I'll get it. You're not shady enough. I'm kidding. It's been so discouraging to apply for jobs. I'm employed from them. If I do, selling system courses and LinkedIn to stand out. You're welcome, Nicole. So it is a long process when you apply for them. I do know that. It's not just like I put in my thing and 3 weeks later I'm hired. It's like they have to interview your people, like your family and all that stuff, because like character, look at your character, and like then you do all these psychological tests. Like it's like a lot. It's a long process. There's something coming up about 3 months. So I don't know if that's when you actually put the application in, but I feel like the whole process is like, I don't even know if this sounds crazy, but like a year-long process to get through it. So it's not that I think that you're not a good candidate, because I do feel like it, but part of this is like you also really needing to believe in yourself that you're a good candidate. Oh, the website says on the website, like it takes like a year. Yeah. So it's like learning to believe in yourself and really have trust in yourself feels really, really important. And I also feel like you may end up doing better than you really imagine, like in that area. Do I think that you're going to be like, um, it's interesting because I was like, oh, would she be like in the, like more of an office type person? It's like, no, I still see you doing some field work. Listen, just believe in yourself if you want to do something. Because the truth is like at the end of the day, you're the one who has to believe in yourself, not somebody else to believe in you. Like you really have to like have your own back and be like, no, I'm capable of this and energetically put that out there. You lack experience. That's fine. I mean, when I went into nursing, I thought, oh, I want to do this. I had ideas of what I wanted to do. And then I got in those areas and I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm not an ER nurse. And I went into the ER and I thought, like, oh, I wanted all the excitement. And then I was like, no. I only lasted like 9 months. I hated it. I hated how I became extremely cynical. I hated not knowing my patients. Like, you're literally like, good luck. Like, you literally just send people, like, that's how you feel. Or you send them up to the floor and like, hope they make it. I had one guy who was in a massive rollover and ended up having to be transported to like a higher level hospital. And he was talking when he left, and I got a call from the nurse, and they're like, what the fuck did you do to him? I was like, nothing. He was talking when he left here, and he was completely obtunded when he got up there. Like, so yeah. I did not like that. I did not like it. So it's like, who cares if you don't know what you love? You're young. It's okay to not know what you love or what you want to do. Like, it's okay. We've got this weird societal idea that we have to just know it all and figure it all out. And then the next 80 years of your life, you're doing it. And that's all you want to do. And that's what you love. And it's like, I thought I was going to be a nurse forever. And then New York kind of made me hate nursing, to be honest with you. I don't know why. So maybe it's like whatever you specialize in, you need to go look at something there. I have no idea. I don't understand what I saw, but I saw what I saw. So I feel like you'll mostly be in the office, but I feel like there may be things that bring you out into the field work to look at something, to see how it is. Like, I don't know. I don't understand it. And maybe they train you in something else. Maybe you find that when you get there, you have like a skill that they need. Like when you do all of the tests and stuff, they're like, hey, you'd be really good at this, because they do a ton of tests. Where did I end up? So I started in postpartum, antepartum, GYN surgical for like 2 years. I just got bored looking at crotches. That's what I said. It was very like the same thing all the time, and it was too monotonous for me. So then I moved down to that same hospital. I was in Austin, Texas. I went into their ER and I worked there for 9 months, and it was just not, one of the nurses that I worked with, she was like, this ER is just not set up well. And they're not really supportive of their staff. So I ended up, and Austin only has 2 hospital systems. And so there's not like a lot of competition to pay well. So I went to Houston and worked at Texas Children's in their NICU. And they have like the largest NICU in the nation. It's huge. And so I was in their level 2. So there's like a level 3, which is, like their whatever. I love the level 2 NICU. And we took babies from home too, which most NICUs don't. So like 3 months and under would come to our unit instead of going to the floor. And so we had a special section just for the outside babies that had been home. And I loved it. It was like honestly my favorite place, also because there's no bright lights. All the alarms are really quiet. They've got all these like soundproofing all over. So like sensory wise, it was amazing for me. And I love my little flapjacks. And then as a travel nurse, I just did peds because you can't always find. And because I got such a wide variety of kids at that hospital, it's a fabulous hospital. I absolutely love it. And yeah. You were tired, but you loved it. Yeah. I love my little flapjack babies. They are, I just loved them. Yeah. So I went as a traveler. And because I didn't have the level 3 experience, it was harder to find NICU stuff. So, But I did learn vents as a traveler because I ended up being at a place that had vent unit and they trained me. And it's not too late to donate, Autumn. You can donate. I find working for the FBI really interesting, and it's something that will make me really proud. I always want to help society in a big way. So just apply. But I feel something around 3 months. So I don't know if that's when you decide to apply or whatever, but there was something about 3 months with it. And because I think I saw going further, I would say just if you're getting the inclination to do something, this is how you start to trust your intuition. Follow it. See what happens. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to go, no, we're not interested. And you're right where you're at right now. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. So I ended up doing like like I did then as a traveler up here in New York. I worked in like a children's nursing home for a while. That was like, then I did like a couple different hospitals. I did mother baby in one hospital. Actually, well, I did the baby. They didn't give me with the moms, even though I would have been fine with it. And then I did the other hospital. I did the pediatric unit. And then I worked at a clinic for a while too, like a pediatric clinic. So, but New York kind of made me hate nursing just because it was different in that like there was a code on one of the floors once, and I got out. I was on break. Happened to be on the floor taking my break, and I got up and I went to go help out, and they're like, "You're on break," and I was like, "But there's an emergency, and I'm a body to help. Like, it's fine." It was just a different mentality that I wasn't used to. So I just, I sort of, I don't know, whatever. Another day, another story. I always loved my patients. I wasn't always in love with my coworkers. I'll put it that way. I worked with, I was very, very much a patient advocate. Like I had one nurse in New York say to me, like, "You think like a doctor, you don't think like a nurse." I'm like, "No, I think like somebody who's standing at the bedside taking care of this patient." And this patient, this is one of the hospital I was at, and I had like 17 babies, and one of them I put oxygen on him and was thumping him because he really needed to go to the NICU. Because he kept desatting, and they're like, "You're gonna just tell the doctor?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am. I'm gonna tell the doctor this kid needs this test, and you need to take him to the NICU. He doesn't belong here." Well, you can't talk to him. I was like, "Yes, I can. I absolutely can, and I absolutely will." Like, I don't care. Anyway, okay. So we got Allie, we got Nicole. Rock Don, you're up, and then we'll do Monique. I'm gonna sneak you in there. So I sometimes rub people the wrong way. So, oh well. And I never wanted to be like, so when I was at Texas Children's, they were really pushing like, joining all these different committees and furthering your education, which that would have been fine, I guess. But I had zero desire to ever be a manager. I don't like being in charge of people because I just want you to come and do your work. Like, I don't want to deal with the drama. I just show up, do what I ask you to do, like show up for your shift, that kind of stuff. I don't know. Okay, my dad is feeling unsteady or loose balance while walking. Will Poon Hospital help him get to the root cause of treatments? Any improvement coming? Why is he feeling unbalanced? I think that's actually the better question than the hospital, right? So let's look at your dad. Have they done, I'm asking this because of the way they're showing me something, so don't panic, but have they done like a CT or an MRI of his brain head area? I just want to look up because the way this is coming in, I don't even know if this is possible. Um, so I keep seeing something like a cyst or something that's creating an issue. Did they look specifically at his pituitary area? And I don't feel like I don't feel like a stroke. I feel like there's something in there that's like a cyst, kind of the way it looks like to me, right? That's creating that issue. And it's weird that I'm feeling it. Like I looked up the pituitary thing because I'm like, I don't even think that what it is, but it says like in rare cases something like I don't feel like it's a tumor because I'm not seeing it as a tumor. So I want to say that I want to be very clear on that. But it said rare cases these can like tumors, which I don't feel like it is, can cause imbalance issues. But I feel like it's like a cyst. Um, does he have issues of also like pre-diabetes or blood sugar issues? Yeah. So I think some of it is related to that as well. So eating more fiber in his diet and protein, I feel like helps. Yeah. I'm laughing when you say it that way because I used to work with this respiratory therapist, and he cracked me out, James. He'd be like, "I got the sugar diabetes." um, I feel like some of the dizziness is related to that, and his blood sugars not being right. I don't think it's real vertigo. I feel like if he started eating where he eats a lot of fiber and protein, and it'll help with his carbs and helps his blood sugar even out. I feel like that's what kind of helps him with the vertigo. But I also feel something about a cyst. So I want to say that too. I feel like it's benign. It is not anything that you're going to be like, oh my God, it's going to rupture and he's going to die. Like, let's not go to crazy town there. That's not the town I will believe we need to live in. Nor is it the town that's necessary to visit. Um, I'm not sure if it's Poon Hospital or like a smaller kind of more old school kind of doctor that figures it out, to be honest with you. I do feel like it's treatable. I don't know that the neurology would look at his diabetes. I feel like it'd be, that's, God, I can't think of a specialty. Anybody wants to chime in here? um, Nephrology. Endocrine could help. Yep. Um, I want you to not worry. I feel like an answer will come within 3 months. I feel like he'll start feeling better. Okay. Either nephrology or endocrine will help. Mm-hmm. Probably an endocrine first. He'll be able to what, Scooty? Yeah, I feel like you'll help him. Don't worry. Oh, he can drive a scooter, a bike. Um, that might be a little further out because I feel like he's lost a little bit of his confidence. So that might be about 6 months out before he does that again. Just again, because I feel like he's lost a little bit of his confidence. Ooh, cold. My hair is really wet. Ugh. Okay. I don't feel like it's life threatening. I feel like he'll get it under control. Monique, what's your question? You're very welcome, Rockton. Oh, you sent it in PayPal. Okay, sorry about that. Give me a minute to get my brain together here. Sorry. I recently learned that I have fibroids that need to be operated on in France. What do you see happening with the whole situation? What question should I ask the doctor this week? Okay. So I feel like the surgery goes well. I feel like there's one large one like on the left side of your uterus. I do feel like whoever you pick is pretty thorough, so I don't think you're going to have that many questions. There is something I keep getting about like asking about like sort of, okay, once this is done, looking at, um, are there, is there anything you should be doing for preventative, like avoiding certain foods or eating more foods? Like, should you be eating more cruciferous vegetables or whatever? I don't know why, but that's sort of what I'm getting. I feel like you're going to be more sore than you expect, but you'll still recover okay. It's just like, oh, I wasn't thinking that it would be this uncomfortable, but I don't think it's unbearable. So I want to make sure that I'm clear on that. And I do feel like you're going to be getting good support there and follow up. So, like, better there than being here. I hate to say that, but I feel like that's the truth. It's interesting because I feel like there's one really large one on the left side, and then the right side, I have like some smaller ones, but I feel like it encompasses more of the left side of my uterus. Before the summer. So I don't feel like it's so far out, but I don't feel it's like, next month or anything. So maybe May. Excuse me. Okay, Autumn, I'll check. Oh, and then Claudina added a third question in. Okay. That's the part where I said I feel like you need to ask if there's something about not having them come back, because I feel like there's something preventative on your end, which sounds weird to me because I'm like, everything I know about them is sort of like they just happen, but there's something maybe that they've discovered recently. I don't know about prevention, so I don't know if it's. I honestly don't know. That there's something that a certain way you should be eating. I don't know what this is. So maybe even do some research on your own about like alternatives, treatment for prevention or whatever of fibroids. And I don't know why, but it feels like looking up some, and by alternative, I don't mean taking a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, like, have they discovered that certain types of foods are more preventative for it than others, or are more supportive of your certain systems? I don't know. There's something about that I keep getting, and I don't know enough about fibroids. I've unfortunately never had to deal with them. I also feel like if they do come back, they come back very small. They're not going to be quite as large. I don't know if it's this one or a partner, to be honest with you. Okay. All right. Now quit peppering me with questions. Because this is a lot. Okay, Sally, what's your question? You're very welcome, Ashley. You're welcome, Monique. My feet are swollen and I'm on medical leave. I want to exit my current job and find a new, easier one. Now I'm on medical leave. When do I get to join a new job, and when will my ankle heal? Okay. Are you on medical leave for another 3 months? Because there's something about 3 months, but I don't feel like that's when you're getting a new job. I lean towards the new job being actually a bit further out. I'm leaning more towards a year out. Because I do feel like you end up going back and working with them. As far as your feet being swollen. It's interesting. I feel like there's like a lymphatic drainage. Like they're kind of keep talking about doing some lymphatic drainage therapy, or going and getting a lymphatic massage would be really beneficial for you. I don't know if that's, goes against what your doctors have told you to do. Because to me, this feels like something that might be a recurring condition for you. And like maybe you're not getting enough circulation and it's creating like, and you're not getting enough drainage in your lymphatic system, and that's what's creating it. And also there's a part there that makes me feel like there's a blood sugar issue for you. Medical leave for 3 months, and then when do I get the job? This issue with job has made me sick. I hurt myself at the job. I don't want to return to the job. I understand that. I feel like you go back for a little while after the medical leave. I don't feel like you leave right away. So I feel like maybe it might be as soon as 6 months for the new job, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a year. Like, and my sense is that like it's not it's just there's not a comparable job in the sense of like I don't want to leave my benefits right away. You have tendonitis. I don't know what to tell you. Like I just said, it could be as soon as 6 months, but there feels like to me like I'm not getting enough circulation or drainage. And I will say this with tendons, they don't get the same blood flow as other areas, so that could be where I'm feeling that. That's why I asked about diabetes, because people with diabetes have an issue with that. So it just feels like looking at, even though it's like doesn't make sense for the lymphs with the tendons, but it just feels like if I did some lymphatic drainage, that would help, like massage on my legs, elevate and encourage, drainage. I feel like that would be helpful for you. Again, I don't know if that's counter, to what the doctors say. So certainly if it is, don't do that. It's just a feeling. You're doing massage daily and elevating. I feel like that helps. And just, tendons take a long time to heal. Just in general, they take a long time to heal. I just feel like I'm not going to just up and leave because then I wouldn't have benefits, is sort of the feeling. So where is your medical leave at till now? You see him tomorrow. I feel like he'll definitely extend it. You finished 3 weeks. I feel like he'll extend it. So maybe that's why I was getting the 3. But I feel like it might be 3 months that you're out. So I feel like he'll extend it more. I do feel like he might start sending you to PT soon to kind of rehab it a little. I don't think he'll be able to extend it 3 months at a go, to be honest with you. I feel like it's a little different. Like maybe as long as 9 weeks, but not full 3 months. I don't know. It sounds weird because that's pretty close, but that would put you at the 3 months total. Okay. I understand. Claudina wants a general reading. Just a general read for this week. And then will my son Ricardo and Lisa have a baby soon? And then my daughter is diagnosed with vertigo, MRI negative, treatment ineffective. What should she look for in the case? You're considering going back to India. I don't feel like you'll go back to India for the soonest would be 2 years. So something will keep you here a little longer. I do feel like when you go back, it'll be because you really want to be with your family. Like it feels like needing to be close to family is why you go back. I don't think that that's necessarily because there's death or major sickness. I just feel like it's events that occur where you feel like it's really important for you to have family around. Okay. You're very welcome, Saley. Okay. I answered Monique's question, so let me fix this. Didn't I answer Monique's? That was a question about the fibroids. Yes, I did. Okay. So we are at Claudina and then Autumn. All right, so is the question you're really asking about for Ricardo and Lisa if they'll get pregnant soon? I put them at 3 cycles. I also feel like she really needs to rest more. She's not sleeping well. And Ricardo could be a little bit more helpful. Claudina, did you hear that part? And then Karthik, these are paid readings. They're $12 a reading. 30% goes to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. But I'm closing the list. I have a couple more questions, and I'm going to be done because I've been on for almost 2 hours. So if you want to come back next week, you can purchase the reading for $12 only. Then 30% will go to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey to help with food scarcity because it's real. Or I don't know. That's not the word I want to use, but it's what I'm. Thanks, Karthik. So, Claudina, did you hear that about your son? And with Lisa, I feel like she needs more sleep. I feel like he needs to be a little bit more helpful. She does a lot, and I feel like 3 cycles or so is about when she's gonna get pregnant. Your daughter's diagnosed with vertigo. MRI was negative. Treatment ineffective. So I would look at 2 things with her. She had an atopic and lost a tube. So I feel like she also needs just more rest in general. She's a little bit of a people pleaser, so she really puts a lot of other people ahead of herself. So with your daughter, I keep feeling something along the lines of maybe looking up something called MCAS, MCAS. And also there's something around sodium for her, like maybe her electrolytes are imbalanced. It's interesting because it feels like it's kind of obvious, but they're not. They're just missing it. Maybe because it's too obvious. So that's like where I'm leaning towards for her. Like there's something really that keeps coming up for sodium for me. And I know that's like what I think they recommend sodium for Meniere's, but I don't think it's Meniere's. but there is something diet related about it. So it's like looking up MCAS, and I forget what it stands for, but it's basically like POTS. I wouldn't like, because of the way this is feeling, I wouldn't be surprised if she'd recently had COVID and that's what threw her into this. And then we'll do your general reading. So for you, for your general reading, MCAS, and then also like sodium, like there's something about an electrolyte imbalance for her. So for you with your general reading, it was interesting because I was connecting. I feel like you're incredibly intuitive. And I also feel like they're saying like it would be really important for you to stand in your power more, trusting your intuition more, and not allowing others, because I feel like your family like gives you a little bit of a hard time for believing in this stuff, for wanting to do readings and such. And they're sort of saying like you need to stand in your power a little bit more and not allow them to make you feel like the way you believe or your belief systems or your own intuition is somehow less than. I also feel like there's a part of you that feels like you are not as smart as other people. Maybe you don't have, the degrees or the grades or whatever behind it, but they're like, you are. She had COVID a few months back. I think it's related to that. So with that, with feeling like I'm not as smart as other people, or I'm not as like, I don't have, they're like, yes, you are. It's just, you've been raised in a belief system that somehow you're less than, but you're not. Somehow you're not intelligent, but you can't have children that are really, really smart and not be really, really smart. It's not showing up yet, Dave. Every okay? So does that resonate when I say that to you, Claudina? It's like this feeling of like that the universe, your guides, whatever you want to call it, God, I don't care. Hoobada boo bop boo bop boo. Like it doesn't matter. It's a name. You've been trying to tune in more, but I feel like I said lost or in the dark. You're not. So when you start doing something new, like, so basically when you're connecting in with your intuition, it's going to feel weird and abnormal, or like, is this really it? Because you're not used to it. And I think if people understood that, like, what I connect in with, the most of the information I get is not this like smack you in the middle of the forehead. This is the information. It's so subtle and quiet. And it's so like not sexy. It's like, that's it. Like, if you understood that that's what it was, you wouldn't feel like you're in the darker loop missing it. But they're sort of saying, like, the stuff that you're getting, trust that you're getting it for a reason and don't allow somebody else to talk you out of it or make you feel like it's silly. And it'll feel kind of weird. Just like when you learn to play the piano or you learn to write, it feels weird because your hand's not used to those movements. Thanks, Autumn. So I guess learning to trust in yourself and feel more empowered is really, really important. Thank you for that very much. That's how I was raised to feel. Yeah. And you are very intelligent. Um, listen, I literally have like a genius level IQ, like very high IQ. And my father and stepmother made me feel like I was an idiot. Like I wasn't allowed to say like, oh, I know that. Because my dad would be like a dick about it and be like, oh, you just know everything. Like, and I just learned that it was easier to play dumb with them because they wouldn't be assholes if I played dumb. Like it gave them some superiority complex. So I just sat quiet a lot or, like just didn't say I know things. I'd let them explain things to me because they just felt so much better about themselves. Um, and it took me a long time in life to learn that the people who are running around calling other people dumb are actually the dummies. like, like really, really smart people don't feel a need to prove they're intelligent. I mean, and it's the truth, right? Thank you, KK, for backing that up. But really, like, we don't like I don't even think when we're talking about it with my kids because one of my kids had an IQ thing done and I was like, oh, she's being gifted, and I was like, okay, I was like, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're really, really smart. It just means you have the ability to learn. Because like let's keep that grounded. Like I don't know everything, and I certainly have lots and lots to learn, and I can definitely learn from everybody, regardless of wherever their IQ is at, because everybody has something that they can teach you in life. There's no way to know it all. You're very welcome, Claudina. Okay, Autumn, I saw your question. I don't think that you're really we are dreaming about Travis still. My sense is genuinely for you to look at those dreams and look at that relationship, and like the feeling I get is you're having these dreams as a way to sort of process whatever belief system you have around like that needs to be healed. And it's coming up because that's something that's like kind of working its way out of your system. So I'm leaning towards that being not being chosen, seen, or valued. It's like sort of having to accept less than or accept bare minimum as like, oh my God, this is amazing, when it's like literally just the bare minimum that anybody should do in life. That's the feeling I get around it. So look at that chaos in the dream and delve into that is sort of the feeling I get, is like, look at that. I mean, I will tell you what's interesting is like, okay, I don't think I told you any of this. I'm gonna have to tell you. I'm gonna have to email you after this. Some of my dreams that I thought, oh, there's no way this is really prophetic. There's some like deep meaning, and that like it ends up being like actually pretty prophetic, even though they're super chaotic and weird. Like super chaotic and weird. And then like it was prophetic. Like even was like I was dreaming something about my house and having some issues. And then like it was super weird and chaotic. I can't tell too much. I mean, without delving too much personal stuff, but it was like all these weird chaotic things. And then it turned out, well, it was just, it showed up in a weird chaotic way. And maybe, and I have to say this, sometimes I have things that way and I'm thinking maybe it's because I'm not, if I knew it in the literal sense, I would have done something to prevent it, but I needed to actually go through these experiences for many reasons, to see who people are, and to learn to like go, oh, that, like, kind of accept it into my um, reality, to see who people really are. So it's like I went, I mean, I still do it. Like, we're like, let me dream about this, like, if this is happening or whatever, when this happens, I kind of want to dream about dreams that are going on around it. And like one of the, like a couple of the dreams I've had, I definitely need to tell KK about these because they're ones I asked her about, like, what does this mean? And oh, that's really good luck. But then it turned out they were kind of literal in a way. And yeah. And I think it was because I needed to see who somebody was and it lined up with some things I was asking about. So it feels like when you go through and you look at your dreams, and I know this isn't exactly the thing, but it's like, it's just the feeling I get is not that it's like, it's not that it's like, oh, I have this massive bond to him and like whatever. It's more what it symbolizes. Like, this is very symbolic. He's a placeholder for a belief system in this case. Well, tell me exactly what your dream was. You mind? Sorry for the chewing. And then, Devery, in the meantime, while she's typing, what's your question? And then we'll go, we'll move out of these. If you guys want to do a few minutes of general readings, I'll do those. Like world event type things. Everyone's intelligent in their own way. Why it's just that society has a narrow view of what makes someone smart. Yep. This kind of thinking, I believe, is hurting people to know. Well, for sure. But that also like kind of goes in with the system of patriarchy and white supremacy, like to have things like this is intelligence and this is what makes you successful and this is like what's good and this is what's bad, because and capital, or sorry, not capital. What am I thinking? Corporate greed and all of that. Like, if we can keep people down in the system, then we're better, you're worse, like all of that, instead of valuing like that. If everybody like sort of did well and maybe didn't work on this crazy schedule, they might thrive and do better. But then like these people aren't making as much money and,
Devery, why'd you delete that?
Okay, yeah, he was someone else, but was still choosing me. He was with someone else, but still choosing me. He was like, I just need to get out of the situation before I can be with you fully. So part of that is also then like when I read that, I'm like, oh, so you're interested in somebody who's not fully available. So why do you want somebody who's not fully available? Look at it that way is the way I kind of look at it. It's like, and why do you think you're like, there's a subconscious level of feeling like you're not worthy of being fully devoted to. I know that sounds like different, but it's like in your dream, it seems like I'm waiting for somebody. It's like every time I focus on my attention on someone else as trying to manifest someone else, he pops back up in my dreams. So is there a subconscious part of you that doesn't feel like you're worthy of being chosen by somebody who is fully available? Or you don't have to wait? Because if I like, when people are interested in married men or married women, that to me is saying you don't want to be with somebody who's fully emotionally available, or you don't feel like you're deserving of somebody who's fully available. Why are you not emotionally connected enough to go, I deserve this? Or why is it not safe for you to feel that you can go 100% in on a relationship? And part of it also comes from insecurity. It's like, oh, there's somebody else, but they choose me first. Like that comes from an insecure place. I don't think it really has to do with him. I think it has to do with what it symbolizes. So there's still, I would tell you is that that's coming up because there's still a deep part of you that subconsciously believes you're not worthy and deserving of having somebody that's fully available, and not just worthy and deserving, but there's a fear there about being fully vulnerable. I don't think it really, even though he's like, to me, he's just a symbol of what it is. I don't think it's really about him. I have to be very honest with you. Someone else gets an intuition thing, like KK, if you have some kind of intuitive hit on this you want to offer, by all means. But my sense is that it's not really about him. He's just a placeholder in the dream for. It's always him because it's just an easy person to place there. That's it. That's where your brain is going. It's just an easy person to place there. Oh, I was just saying that, like, look at Autumn's stuff and see if you pick something else up, because I know you're big into dream interpretation. If you're anything, pick up on Autumn stuff that would lend to either addition or whatever other insight that other than what I was saying. My sense is that it's not really about him. It's about you and relationships. And there's still a part of you somewhere subconsciously, if it's coming up in a dream, subconsciously feeling like you're not worthy and deserving of somebody. Like you still have to wait around. Still need to do some self-work. Yeah. But like, look at how beautiful that is that your brain is giving you the information, it's not like I can't figure it out. I had a huge realization. God, it's taken me way too long to figure that out. That like, I used to always say in my 20s, I don't have a type, because I like none of the guys that I dated looked a certain way. I've dated short guys. I married a short guy. I've dated really tall guys. Like it didn't, like there was no look. And I was like, oh, I don't have a type. And then I like realized that I was like, oh, I fucking have a type, but it has nothing to do with looks. It's all personality. I definitely have a personality type. So, and that has a lot to do with my deep-seated belief systems that I've been really working on and reprogramming and stuff to build a better self-esteem, to build better self-concept, because I fucking deserve it. I deserve to feel just like all of you deserve to feel good about yourself, and deserve to love yourself, and deserve to feel worthy and deserving of all the things that you want and desire. And also just moving through life more confidently, not doubting yourself, not, wondering why you're not chosen. Why is it always somebody else? All those things that come up with that. I need to answer Devry's question, and then I sort of wanted to move away from the paid readings, if that's okay, and move into doing just some quick general readings, and then I was gonna head out because I've been on for about 2 hours now. Do I still see you moving by June or July? Okay, thanks for understanding, Autumn. I heard yes. Like as soon as I closed my eyes, I heard yes. I do. I'm leaning towards the July part. I got to be honest with you, but yes, I do still see you moving. Okay. Do we want to move into doing some general questions now? You're very welcome, Devery. Stretching. So let's see. See you next week, Julia. What will happen with Fannie Willis? To Fannie Willis? Just to add something here about Autumn's topic, trying to manifest someone else means that you're still thinking about this guy in the manifestation process. Oh, that's a good point. As a reference point, which is probably why you dream about him. That's a very good point. So so let's look at Fannie Willis. And hi, Starry Sky, welcome. You were just lurking today. Okay, so Fannie Willis. I honestly feel like what they're drumming up against her is a nothing burger, and it's not going to come to anything, and she's going to still be able to, pursue what she's doing. It just feels like don't look at the man behind the curtain kind of thing. Like just all the kind of tactics that Trump and his people do, just like trying to like throw everything they can at it. So she's going to be fine. I don't think anything's going to come of it. I would be highly surprised if it did. She will never shit where she eats again, though. That's for sure. Because it just feels like a stupid distracted, a stupid thing that doesn't need to be here. And she's like, I just don't want to deal with that kind of thing anymore. I like Fannie Willis. I think she's fabulous. I also can we believe what happened in New York? Like, oh, this man is like so unbelievable. The people that are following him are just so die hard. I mean, you got to give it to him for being loyal, right? And loyal and willing to be blind as a bat, right? Will Kendra G ever get married or pregnant? Can I look at a picture of her? Because I just don't know who she is. And so it's like, this is the radio person. Am I looking at that right? Is that Devries Kendra G, the radio person? I just wanted to look at a picture of her. So what's interesting is when I felt into the energy, I feel like, I don't know that she'll be married, but I do feel like she'll have a baby. So it might be that she's in a long-term committed relationship. Maybe they're like engaged for a while. But I feel like a baby. I'm not strong on the marriage part. Okay, Claudina, will Congress get to work for the people? I laugh because 2028, I'm going to say this, 2028 feels like a much better year for us and moving forward. 2035 feels really important too. And I don't know what that's around, but it feels like moving towards, again, working more for the people rather than being beholden to lobbyists. So it feels a little bit further out. Again, it's like needing a change of the guard, which means a lot of these older generation, the boomers and stuff, moving out of politics. And even I think Now they might be the early boomers, is what Biden is like, but those people moving out. And then also Gen Alpha by 2028 will be able to start voting, the older Gen Alpha, which will be helpful. There are going to be laws coming into place, I think around the 2030s, where they're either no longer to be able to accept lobbyist money, or there's going to be major limiting. There's also going to be laws put into place around investments. So what's her name? The Democratic lady. I can see her face. I can't think of her name. She's made a shit ton of money. She's Democrat. So this is this is a problem that's across the board. And like selling like lots of insider trading without them calling it insider trading. So there's going to be some laws put into place to curtail those activities, where either their money is put in a blind trust and they're not making the trades and stuff, something like that. I do believe Kamala will still be his running partner, though I'm not happy with her, I gotta be honest. Only because like the stuff around Palestine is really like opened my eyes to see like they're all kind of the same. Like I kind of knew it before, but and if you don't agree with me, you don't have to agree with me, but I feel like it's my personal opinion, there should be a ceasefire, because innocent people are just being slaughtered. So thank you for pointing that out, Debbie, by the way, that I skipped over that. I didn't mean to, Regine. Taylor Swift engaged soon. I don't feel it. I got to be honest with you. I think, like they haven't even been dating a year. And if and when she gets married, like that's a whole lot of lawyers needing to get together for a whole lot of prenuptial agreements, because she is, incredibly wealthy, and has, probably several things that have to be worked out. I do feel like they haven't, I know this is like going to sound weird, but like they haven't spent that much time together, relatively speaking, because they're both, have been working a lot. So my sense is like it's not going to happen as soon as people want it to, if it does. No, I don't think Kim Kardashian will ever find a long-term partner, and here's why. And I find it very interesting. So, somebody she idolized, I can't remember her name. She's got the violet eyes. Had like 8 husbands, and she was always like, "Oh my god, I love her so much." And I feel like energetically, she shifted herself into this place to like emulate what she did. So I don't feel like she'll ever have one long-term partner. I feel like she'll go through several husbands. I feel like she may even have 2 more, to be honest with you. And I don't think I think it's going to be a little while before she actually gets into 2 series of relationship, just because I feel like, I know she's dating and stuff like that, but I also feel like she may even have 3 more husbands. Being married to Kanye was a lot. Elizabeth Taylor. Yes. That's how it is. She just absolutely loved Elizabeth Taylor. I remember seeing something like that. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was like, fits. Not in a bad way, but just like Elizabeth Taylor had a whole bunch of marriages. And I also feel like there's a lot of stuff that they, as a family, you can see patterns. So this isn't even like psychic. Just look at their patterns. There's a lot of like dysfunctional behavior. Like when your whole brand is like attention seeking and like extreme lengths to go to receive that attention. Like, look, they're great business people. I will never begrudge them that, but there's a lot of dysfunction there. And where there's dysfunction, like just because they're rich and just because they're famous doesn't mean that they've healed their shit. So, and there's some belief systems there that need to be healed. So hang on, do I think Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's relationship? I don't. So here's the thing. I know so people were speculating because his own publicist called her a clown on Instagram. I don't. So I think there's a PR aspect to it, certainly, but I do feel like it's a real relationship. I'm laughing only because of something I heard after, and I was like, yes, I know. So I don't feel like it's pretend. I mean, I get that people do those kind of things, but I don't feel that at all. And I don't feel like it's PR because either of them really need PR, but I feel like they're using it to their advantage. So there's that. And maybe that's naive, but that's the feeling I get around it. Have a great day, Karen. Thank you and welcome. What kind of professional skills or areas will flourish over the next few years? 5 years, I feel like there's a lot of I don't know if it's coding or what it is, like around the computer related stuff, digital marketing. There's something with AI, but I don't know 100% where that is. I just keep seeing AI. I also feel like trade workers will really start to pick up more, and people moving into more instead of like getting their college degrees or university degrees. They're going to be going more towards trades. So like going back into building up like plumbers and electricians and things like that. I also feel like I have to say this, I feel like they're going to move away. So right now they push a lot of like higher level degrees for even nurses. They're going to move back towards doing associate's degrees and building up that way because the numbers are so low there. I also feel like there's going to be a growth sector in like offering alternative types of living arrangements for older people, like group homes, but not necessarily group homes. Like those are going to be springing up more instead of the big facilities and the big places like that. I don't know. Lord have mercy. I'm not doing personal questions right now. I'm just doing general questions. I ended that portion. So if you want to come back next week, they're $12 a reading, and I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. I don't think that the Trumpies will hurt Taylor. And then somebody asked about her switching over, like why do they care? Or Beyonce, why do they care about Beyonce switching when Taylor did it and it was fine? One, because she's a woman and she's a Black woman. Who's that guy from Hootie and the Blowfish? He switched over and that didn't seem to cause too much of a stir. It's just sort of one of those things where people get so set in their ways and they like have a hard time adjusting. When she puts out her album, it'll be fine. It'll do better. It's just the first time, but It's good. The way she dresses reminds me of like, I mean, she's definitely going back to her Houston like roots. It cracked me up. Um, some of the rich white ladies I would see that would dress that way. Some of the like, more affluent country people. Um, so I mean, let's be honest, Devery, probably because of racism. Not gonna lie. Um, do you think the environment will improve? Like I know we have been killing the planet for decades. I doesn't so it's like she's not being killed. She's just sort of going, it's time to uh, expel the toxins. The other thing is that it also has to do with poles shifting, that we're having such strange weather stuff. Um, we have technology that will help clean up the environment. We are not pushing it, and we are not putting in all the things because capitalism and people still want to make money. And that's like the feeling I get behind a lot of it. Um, 2035 feels really big. 2028 feels really big. Those 2 years feel really big for me. And I don't know what that means. Like someone who does astrology could probably, um, Darius Rucker, yeah, could probably tell you more about it. So eventually it gets better, but it does take a little while for us to kind of find that balance again. There's going to be a lot stricter laws put into place. I also feel like they're going to curb plastics massively in the next 15, 20 years. Major natural events for these years, yeah. Earthquakes, flooding, yeah. So, and I sort of, it's like some of that is, so the earthquakes and the flooding and stuff, I keep leaning towards it more being the pole shifting, which is creating, different weather patterns and larger weather patterns, which is also part of the reason for the rise in temperature. Um, and also, there's the greed, the corporate greed that's just like keep pumping stuff out and not worrying about how it's hurting others. Yes, reinventing herself, the earth is. Yep, that's kind of what I feel like, Claudina. Um, Healthcare is going to get better. So 2028 is another one. I've said that for a while. I was like, well, they'll start implementing more, leaning more towards a single payer system, and moving away from it. They're sort of starting to see the problems with having, um, I think they're called equity companies, going in and buying up hospital systems, and having these financial people running hospital systems and doctors' offices and stuff like that. That it's like not really working. Um, Things are going to start shifting. And I said this a long time ago, so you guys can pipe up for who've been here for a while. I feel like we will still have some of the insurance industries, but they just start to shift a little bit. Some of them will kind of fade into oblivion, but 2028 is going to be a big year for change. I got to be honest with you. Is Beyonce okay? She seems out of it when sad or something. I just have feelings about being married to Jay-Z. um, I have just feelings about that it's not, I don't know that she's necessarily happy being married to him. And I don't know that she'll always be married to him. I think part of her staying right now is for her kids. To be honest with you, financially, she's fine to like exit stage left. So my feeling about it is that she was really young when they started dating, and he was, a man. And I don't think she fully knew who she was yet. And she's grown into herself more now, and it's not necessarily in alignment. And so I don't think she's fully happy, but I do feel like she's also bound a little bit. There's like some kind of business being bound a little bit by business, but I don't think she'll always be there. And it's, I mean, a lot of women go through that, like where, it's just, I don't know. I just think a lot of women go through it. Like we're told societally what marriage should be, and this idea of like, you're whole and complete when you're married and you're a real person. And if you're not, well, then you're a spinster. And like, there's all these negative things about being a single woman. Like, oh, you couldn't be happy being single. You'd be miserable with your cats. And like, because of social media, right? You sort of find out like, well, that's bullshit. Like women can be, and because women are able to like support themselves now, it's like sort of one of these things of like, well, that was an idea based on patriarchy, based on, white supremacy and Christian theocracy and capitalism that benefited men. um, and it's not necessarily true. So, and like, I also think, I have to say this, I think with a lot of famous people, sometimes they stay with their partners longer than is healthy or necessary because they're worried about the optics of it. Because like look at Taylor, that poor thing. She got so much shit for dating too many men when she was in her 20s. Like what do you do when you're in your 20s? You date a whole bunch of people. That's normal and healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. But they slut shamed her, right? So I don't know. Yeah. But I do think that some people are not happy necessarily in their marriages when they're famous, and they take a little longer to get out of it because again, they're worried about the optics. They've got projects coming up. They've got, you know, um, they also have kids. Like there's just all kinds of stuff. Because it's not when they're famous, it's not the money. They'll be fine financially. Will we see much fair future for economic growth where money won't be billionaires? Yes, I do feel like that will happen. So I feel like I think I've said this before. By 2026, I feel like they'll, especially in the United States. I know you're not. You're, over in Scotland, I believe. They will start implementing laws around, like limiting corporations, also changing the tax laws around corporations and billionaires and things like that. 2038, I think, is where you're going to really see some shifts in that. Where it doesn't mean it starts in 2038, but I feel like that's where you're going to look back and be like big differences. I know that feels like a long way away because it's like 14 years away, but God, time passes so quickly, doesn't it? I mean, my friend before he passed, he was like, when you're 60, man, like, yeah. And it was funny because my friend Victoria, who I've mentioned a lot before, she's an astrologer and she was looking at my chart. She's like, oh my God, like, look at this is happening when you're 60. And I was like, you too. And now here I'm like, instead of being 20 years away, I'm 15 years away. Like, and it passed like it was nothing. Do I see warlike events around 2020 and 2023? So I don't feel like we're going to have a world war, like in the sense of like mass explosions and nuclear war. I do feel like there's going to be lots of skirmishes, and I feel like there's going to be more stuff where it's like trying to manipulate with propaganda and cyber type stuff. If anything happens, it will be more like a cyber stuff. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So like the way Russia kind of inserted themselves back in 2020, that kind of stuff. And then also cyber stuff. So a lot of the changes are going to come, like when you said society doesn't like seeing women happy and losing power over us. Yes. And a lot of changes are happening because people are, when they saw like, oh, the Great Awakening, well, it's not necessarily like everybody's become spiritual. It's like just people are going to wake up to the crap that's been fed to them for so long. 2028 is when I think we'll see have 2 women in the office. And I've said that since, I don't know, somebody else can quote me on this, like 4 years ago, 6 years ago. 2028, when it was funny. I saw 2024. I was like, I don't know what happens there. Because I was like, I saw Biden in the office. I was like, I don't know what's going on with 2024. It's like, it felt weird to me. I don't think Trump's going to be in, and none of the astrologers are predicting that. Like his chart looks terrible. And there are people who I feel pretty confident in, like Astro Lori on TikTok. She kind of does looks at all the financial and political stuff, and she's been pretty spot on. I don't know that if I do feel like it'll be the Democrats in there. If it's Biden, which I'm like, I just feel like he's in the office for a short time and then he's out. The younger generations will most likely change the gender imbalance. Yep, because it doesn't make much sense to them. That's exactly it. That's why I'm like 2020, it's a big year for changes. And this is just that, like, this is that rumbly part where, like, the new stuff is starting to come in and the old doesn't like the change, right? You'll see it. Like, I know when I went into nursing, when I had my first job, it's like they were just starting to transfer into doing computer charting, and it wasn't much that we charted in the computer, but there was still like the older nurses who were like, I can't believe you did it so much. Just give me a piece of paper. Like, and that's kind of what's happening. It's like the people going, I don't want to change. I don't like this. And like the younger people being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, that happens. It happens with your subconscious when you're changing you're changing your belief systems, and they're like, no, let's fight this and make it really hard. It's just like sort of par for the course, right? I'm old. I'm around. You see all this change. Yeah. Oh, I hope you're around too. Oh no, Deborah, let me see your question. Oh, do you think he was her first choice, to be honest? Oh, you don't think it'd be her first choice? She was 17. What was the other? Oh, what was the other question? Did I miss it? Why does the country music? No, I saw that. That was the last one I saw of yours. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people had a hard time with the transition from computer charting, and I was sort of like, whatever. But I'm always kind of that with some transitions. What's funny is like I'm good with changes like that. Like if they're like, oh, you just have to do this, I'm like, okay, that's what we're doing now. Like, is it annoying? Sure. Learning a new system, okay, whatever, but it'll get done, it'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. But then like I notice I have a harder time with transitions, like more so of like I'll sit in my car for a few minutes before I come in the house. Or like when I get to a store, I'll sit in my car for a few minutes before I walk in the store sometimes. Unless I know I'm like in a really big hurry. But I'm like if I've come out of like just kind of like not having, I don't know, whatever. Those are my more like neurodivergent. Debbie, can you retype your question? And then I'm going to get off pretty quick here because I'm at 2.5 hours. My throat's getting a little scratchy. yawn. Ugh. So tired. Debbie, what's your question? I can't see it, so I don't know. Did anyone else see Debbie's question? They want to retype it for me? Oops. It might not have been posted. Maybe that's it. Does anyone have any last minute questions? You're posting, so you don't know. Do you want to email it really quick and I'll answer it that way? Good night, Claudine. Claudina. I keep saying Claudine. I'm so sorry. You're very welcome. It's not even that late. I need to actually make some videos for TikTok so I can like keep building over there. You sent it. Okay. It might be. Maybe the words are blocked. I don't know. Let me look. There we go. Got it. Okay. When will Congress get a crackdown on the upcoming migrant gangs attacking people around the world? Let me say this. You might not like this answer. My sense is that they're not as abundant as they might have you believe. And part of that is look over there, look over there, look over there, look at those bad guys over there. And not at us. Look at those bad guys over there. It's not us. It's those bad guys, those evil bad guys. So I don't know that there will be a crackdown as so much as just look at how bad those guys are over there. That's my feeling around that. I often think whenever they're, especially if you see it on mainstream media, whenever they're like, oh my God, it's like, okay, what are they hiding? What do they not want me to look at right now? Let's see what's like kind of popping up in the smaller parts of the news. I hate to say that, and I hate to be like, it's not even being a conspiracy theorist. It's just, that's the pattern they've presented. And people tend to be very pattern oriented. Systems tend to be very pattern oriented. So I'm not running around like building a bunker, but like, I mean, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck and you keep having the same pattern over and over, it's probably a duck. All right, my loves, I'm going to say goodnight to you all. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Get some sleep if it's late. Get some dinner if you need it. And I will see you next Sunday. Okay? Have a good one. It was nice having some of you guys show up. It's like nice for you to say hello in the comments. I'll see you later.